What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys a week 7 team builder for Savage and the Death Valley Chandelures here in NCL Season 9. His team consists of Zapdos, Primarina, Aerodactyl, Shaman, Sneasel, Wishy-Washy, Mega Gallade, Gliscor, Aegislash, Type Null, and Behem. He's got priority options in the Primarina with Aqua Jet, Sneasel with Ice Shard, Mega Gallade with Shadow Sneak, and Aegislash with Shadow Sneak. Hazard setting, he's got the Aerodactyl with Rocks and the Gliscor with Rocks. Removal options, he's got the Zapdos with Defog, as well as Aerodactyl with Defog, and Gliscor with Defog. And then Fortune's weaknesses is the Sneasel to Fighting and Gliscor to Ice. In terms of what I'm not expecting, the only thing really is the Behem. If he thinks he can pull off a Trick Room strat with Behem Wishy-Washy, then more power to him, but I just don't think that Behem has the best matchup against my team. It's a little bit frail to be able to get off a solid Trick Room against me, and yeah. So in the same vein, I would say that Wishy-Washy is probably another one that's not coming, but in reality, it could very well be a Cinderace check. In terms of what I do think is coming, Type Null seems likely, and the reason I'm saying that is because it is easily his best Genesect answer on the entire team. Besides that, nothing else can beat Genesect 1v1, besides Aerodactyl with Fire Fang and a lot of investment, because I'm running a lot of bulk. What else? Zapdos, I think, is coming as a physically defensive check. It seems like the best answer to Garchomp plus Cinderace. It's either Zapdos or Gliscor is going to be physically defensive for those. I would imagine if Zapdos is not physically defensive, that it is offensive, as it can beat Tangrowth plus Slowking. It's one of the mons that can handle Tangrowth plus Slowking very effectively. Gallade seems to be another thing that he could definitely bring to just like punch a hole through my team and clean up my offense later. And I think Shaman is another one of those mons that is a reasonable answer to something like a Mega Gyarados. In terms of breaking, Primarina seems likely, as well as Aegislash. Again, I said Type Null. I think it's going to be especially defensive for the Genesect. If the Sneasel's coming, it's really only to revenge Garchomp and Thundurus, so I don't know how much he values that, really. Sneasel's probably another mon that's not going to show up, if I had to guess. So, like, Wishy-Washy, Sneasel, Behem seem to be the mons that probably don't come. And Aerodactyl, really the biggest thing Aerodactyl gives you is a ground immunity, but you've got Gliscor and Zapdos here, so Aerodactyl seems like pretty useless to me, unless it's like a taunt rock set or something like that. Seems pretty specific. So first up on my side is Thundy T. This is my Zapdos answer. It's also presumably my Shaman answer. It is not the Primarina answer, but it can handle Shaman plus Zapdos reasonably effectively on the specially defensive side. I can also probably switch it into Aegislash if I wanted to, but most of the time the goal is to switch into Zapdos. So I got T-Bolt, U-Turn, Knockoff, and Toxic. The lack of HPAs just means this cannot touch Gliscor at all, but if I can possibly catch it and knock off the Toxic Orb before it comes in, then that's a solid win for me, to be honest. I also do have Toxic, which I'm not going to click against the Gliscor, but would be useful to click against the Zapdos in most scenarios, as well as the Type Null. And if Type Null wants to switch into Thundy and I can get rid of its Violate, then that is also really, really good for me. T-Bolt effectively just weakens or demolishes everything else on the team, and then I've got U-Turn to pivot out on the Shaman. But obviously I can stay in on the Shaman if I really want to as well. I'm running enough speed to outrun no speed base 100s, or I should say 20 speed base 100s-ish. 24 speed base 100s, I would still have speed. So, yeah, lots of special defense and HP investment, and then a tiny little bit of special attack investment for the T-Bolts to hit that much harder. This is really my best answer to the Zapdos, which it's a very strange way to be using a Thundurus-Therian, but it is necessary, unfortunately, in this matchup. I'm bringing Genesect Chill this week. Previously, this is also hitting the same speed stat as it's not hitting the same speed as Thund 8. But it is outspeeding no speed base 100s, just 3 points less, which would be 12 EVs off of this. So we'll see if that does anything. But I've been bringing Douse a lot for defensive fires. and he doesn't have a fire at all. So there's no point in bringing Douse for that because there's nothing that's gonna like lose to it. But I wanted like an upgraded, like Genesect doesn't get water coverage, so Douse Drive is like perfect to give it the water coverage that it wants against fires. But this is basically just an upgraded Ice Beam with Chill Drive. Technoblast is going to be able to shred through Gliscor as well as Zapdos, Shaman, pretty much anything actually. There's not a ton that wants to take this really. Like I'd say Aegislash could take it. I'd say type Null can definitely tank a few, unless I'm special attack boosted. Gallade can take one probably, unless I'm special attack boosted. And then everything else is just going to drop. So yeah, I mean I'm not hitting Wishy-Washy super effectively, but I have super effective coverage for a lot of other stuff. I'm not hitting Primarina super effectively either, but I can get a Flash Cannon attack off on that. I'm guessing I'll be able to get a special attack boost off of Gliscor. So this is fairly free into that. I do have U-turn. If I get a physical attack boost, I can just like U-turn out on something. Even though I'm modest, it'll still do a fat chunk. And then Flamethrower, worst case, is for the Aegislash, which I can't hit super effectively with any of the other moves on the set. Yeah, so like I said, I'm outrunning the no speed base 100s. There's like a weird thing going on with his team where his speed like is clumped. So he's got like a 130, 115, 110, a couple of base 100s, a 95 in Gliscor, which doesn't really run speed, and then it plummets all the way to base 60 with Primarina Aegislash. So it's a pretty easy gap to abuse, especially with something like a Genesect, where I'm not really running speed boosting. Like I could be running speed boosting, but this just doesn't feel like the matchup to run speed boosting, honestly. When I can just effectively outrun the defensive Mons on his team with very little speed investments and have enough bulk to presumably live some hits from the offensive ones, and then be able to run modest max special attack and just shred things, should be a fun one. I thought about running physical here, but special is just always better to break a Gliscor and a Zapdos with static, so that is the world that we're going here. Cinderace, I'm running a bulk up set on Cinderace this week with booties. I do think he's got a couple of decent rockers, even if they're his only rockers. They will have to run rocks, basically. Powerball, U-turn, bulk up, and gunk shot. So we're not really running like any special port changing sort of shenanigans here, but bulk up really makes this a gigantic threat. If I can bulk up, then Powerball is going to start doing like massive damage. Gunk shot is only there for the Primarina. Powerball should be able to handle everything else. And U-turn, if I'm not in a position to bulk up, but I threaten something like Shaman. Like if I threaten Shaman, then I can U-turn into something else and get the momentum that way. I thought about protective pads as well, but I still want boots, I think, in this one. I'm running enough speed for Sneasel. And max attack, a little bit of HP. Gyarados is next. Mega Gyarados with Dragon Dance, Crunch, Waterfall, Power Whip. I'm able to run Adamant against this team, which turns me into a massive threat. The speed investment that I'm running outspeeds Sneasel at +1, and I am also guaranteed outspeeding Max Speed Prim and Aegislash with no boost. So it's sort of a nice sweet spot. I'm not able to outspeed Aerodactyl unless I am Jolly, and I did not want to give up the power to do that. So in terms of the Mons above Gallade, I don't really see Scarf Aerodactyl being the play. If anything, it's going to be Scarf Zapdos or Shaman, in my opinion. I don't think Scarf Sneasel, well, first of all, I don't think Sneasel's coming, but second of all, I think Scarf Sneasel is way too weak to be able to try and handle my team. And yeah, so that's what Gyarados is here for. Power Whip is literally only there for the Primarina. It doesn't really hit anything else very well. Just the fact that Primarina resists Crunch as well just doesn't help it there. Crunch Waterfall is like standard dual stab, and it should be able to handle everything else on the team. Sorry, we're in the middle of a heat wave, so I really need to like hydrate often. Tangrowth. I'm running AV Tangrowth, and I actually had this as Fist of Tangrowth to handle the Gallade, and I swapped it to AV. And here's my reasoning. This is actually just a better sponge for Primarina and Shaman. Slowking was only able to handle Primarina as an AV set, so I think Tangrowth does a little bit better of a job against those. I've got a mixed spread here with Rock Tomb knockoff for physical coverage and Giga Drain Sludge Bomb for special coverage. Sludge Bomb is there for the Shaman, Giga Drain for healing, and to hit Primarina Wishy-Washy. And Gliscor, Rock Tomb to slow down Mons in general, but it's also there to hit the Aerodactyl and the Zapdos, and then Knockoff to get rid of items, but also to hit the Aegislash, but also to get rid of Technol's item. So that's Tangrowth, just fully specially defensive. Slowking is Colbur physically defensive with Scald, Future Sight, Ice Beam, and Slack Off, so this should be able to handle Glade. There's not really any other physical attackers besides like Aerodactyl, sometimes Aegislash, which I'm weak to anyways, so I have to be careful about that, but mostly the Glade, which is pretty much the bigger problem on that side of things, is the Glade on the physical side, so we're just checking it that way. There's not really much I really need to say about this. Future Sight is like my best psychic stab against things, and it really like forces the Sneasel in if I really want it to, which gives Cinderace a good time. Or it's just really good chip against some fatter things that would have to come in to switch in on this. Scald for burning, of course. I'm actually not running Toxic on anything except for Thundy. So Scald burning, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, if I can't Toxic things, then I'd like to have them burned in this matchup. Paralysis doesn't really do much for me, so I think this is fine. And then Ice Beam is there for the Zapdos in a pinch. If I really need to hit the Zapdos, and also the Shaman in a pinch. If those are the things that are going to switch into Slowking consistently, then I can Ice Beam them and get better chip off. Alternatively, Teleport is not a bad play on this. And that might be better, actually. Just run Teleport and just port on both of those ones. Yeah, we'll do that. So, in terms of what I'm not bringing, Mimikyu has an okay matchup. Gliscor is kind of a big problem in most cases, but besides that, Mimikyu actually goes kind of ham. It's not. It would be like a 7th Mon sort of thing. Garchomp, I think, is kind of bad against this team, honestly. There's like triple flying types, a Shaman, which really tanks Garchomp well, Primarina, which you like have to run Poison Jab for, basically. It doesn't. There's no way for me to be able to outspeed Glade properly and still hit this team, and then like yeah, Sneasel Revenge kills it, so it's pretty much like an anti-Garchomp matchup. So it's not coming. Kecleon could have come probably. It's like an alright Aegislash answer if you can like Shadow Sneak on the close combat kind of thing, and then Sucker Punch on the Shadow Sneak or something. I know it doesn't work that way. Shadow Sneak would go before Sucker Punch, but there's Shadow Claw, I suppose. So like, there's ways to outplay the Aegislash to Kecleon. I'm not doing it. Hitmonchan, not the best matchup. Again, triple flying. It's the same sort of thing as Garchomp. And then Aggron actually does have a decent matchup, but I didn't want to be locked into Banded Aggron against an Aegislash, and I need to run a lot of speed investment to outspeed Gliscor, which I'm not willing to do. And I don't want to run a Rock Polish set. So that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys for the match against Savage and the Death Valley Chandelures.